Do you remember the thrill of stepping into Azeroth for the very first time? The sense of wonder, the slow grind, and the tight-knit community that defined WoW Vanilla? Now fast forward 20 years to retail, where instant gratification, automated systems, and streamlined gameplay have taken over. In this video, we'll take a close look at what's been gained and, more importantly, what's been lost over the years. Has retail sacrificed too much of the soul that made the original WoW experience unforgettable? One of the most striking differences between these two versions is the leveling experience. In vanilla, leveling is a slow, methodical journey that feels like a core part of the adventure. Every zone, every quest, and every enemy you face demands your attention, often requiring you to carefully manage your resources, pull enemies with caution, and even team up with others to survive. The grind is real, and every level feels like a hard-earned accomplishment. Along the way, you're naturally drawn into the world and its community, often making friends along the way. Retail, on the other hand, treats leveling more as a formality, a speed bump before reaching the real content at max level. The pace is lightning fast thanks to heirlooms, zone scaling, and streamlined quests that guide you from objective to objective without much challenge or downtime. It's efficient, but it lacks the sense of adventure and danger that made Vanilla's leveling process feel meaningful. You no longer need to rely on other players or carefully plan your journey. Instead, it's all about rushing to max level as quickly as possible. While retail's leveling is undeniably more convenient, it feels more like a chore you have to complete, rather than the immersive, community-driven experience it was in vanilla. The sense of accomplishment is diminished, and the journey has lost its place as a key part of the overall WoW experience. Now that we've explored the stark differences in the leveling experience between vanilla and retail, let's take a step back and examine how these changes reflect a broader transformation in the game world. In Classic, the world itself plays a central role in the player's journey. Exploring vast, dangerous zones feels like an adventure in itself, with quests taking you across sprawling landscapes and encouraging you to interact with other players for help. Every zone is teeming with challenges, and just traveling from one area to another can feel like a significant undertaking. In contrast, retail WoW has streamlined much of that experience, prioritizing convenience and fast travel over exploration. Features like flying mounts, portals, and dungeon finders make it easy to skip over large portions of the game world, leaving many areas feeling more like background scenery than places to be explored. Questing has become more linear, and the ease of fast travel can make the world feel disconnected. As a result, the sense of danger and discovery that once defined Azeroth in Classic has been replaced by a faster-paced, more goal-oriented design. While retail offers more polished systems and smoother gameplay, it often sacrifices the feeling of being part of a living, breathing world, a feeling that was central to the experience of WoW Classic. The world no longer feels like a place to be conquered, but rather a stage for streamlined activities, which can leave players feeling disconnected from the epic, open-world adventure that once defined the game. Now that we've examined how the game world itself has evolved and impacted the overall experience, it's important to consider how these changes carry over into the endgame content. In retail World of Warcraft, the focus has shifted towards a more immediate, action-oriented experience where players can quickly jump into the PvE or PvP activities they enjoy without the traditional emphasis on role-playing elements like gearing up or coordinating with their guild. Systems like group finders, mythic keystones, and instance battlegrounds allow players to dive straight into the content they want, whether it's raiding, dungeons, or PvP. The game is designed to streamline the process, minimizing downtime spent on gathering gear or waiting for a guild group. While this convenience offers a more accessible and fast-paced experience, it also means that some of the earlier community-driven aspects, like collaborating with your guild or meticulously building your character's power over time, aren't as central. Many activities are now less about preparation and more about performance, with the tools in place to ensure that players can get straight to the action. But what about classes? In the early days of WoW, your class choice meant you were locked into a specific set of strengths and, just as importantly, weaknesses. If you were a rogue, you had high burst damage and stealth, but no self-healing. If you played a warrior, you had great defense, but no reliable crowd control. Every class had its own unique toolkit, and those limitations were what made grouping up so essential. You relied on others to fill in the gaps your class couldn't cover. But over the years, especially in retail WoW, Blizzard started giving every class tools they didn't have access to before. Rogues can now heal themselves with Crimson Vial. Warriors have mobility spells that were once exclusive to classes like druids and rogues. Hunters can disengage and heal themselves. It's like every class has a little bit of everything now. Self-heals, mobility, crowd control, and defensive cooldowns. This shift towards making every class a jack of all trades has taken away what made each one feel unique. The distinct boundaries between roles and abilities have blurred to the point where any class can solve most problems on its own. That sense of identity where your spellbook reflected your class fantasy has largely been replaced by a system where everyone can do a bit of everything, and no class really stands out. To sum things up, we can conclude that both versions have their pros and cons. Classic appeals to players who value a slower, more immersive RPG experience filled with exploration and community engagement. It's ideal for those who enjoy the journey as much as the destination. In contrast, retail caters to players seeking convenience and faster progression that prioritizes immediate access to content. As for me, I prefer the original vanilla experience over modern-day WoW. The game today just doesn't manage to capture the magic that Classic brought into my living room. And with that, we reach the end of our little monologue. If you enjoyed the video, consider liking and subscribing. Which version of World of Warcraft did you like best? Let me know in the comments below. Until next time, stay curious and keep exploring.